There's a news organization called the hub.ca, and they came out with a story that they just received a check for $22,000, and apparently the government organization that is responsible to divvy out $100 million a year from Google and then whatever other funding that the government is assigning to legacy media, they're handing out money hand over fist right now during an election period.
Yeah, that's right. So the Hub kind of broke this news, and you're right, there's $100 million in funding that's all of a sudden pouring out. They did receive $22,000, which they donated, so they rejected it. But it's interesting because all of this funding is suddenly pouring out right up until the end of April. Well, election day is April 28th. So I don't know. I mean, I know that there is that program for government-funded media, but it's just interesting timing that the payments seem to be rolling out right in the middle of the writ period.
Yeah, well, it almost feels like election interference, and people talk about that kind of stuff all the time, and it's like there's tangible interference in our elections, and I'll say it, legacy media is responsible for a ton of it. So, especially, God forbid we say it, especially the CBC, because when CBC represents a bias, they're operating on tax money. They're not, a news organization. Even if they're subsidized, they're still private businesses. They still have to they still have to answer to their audience and their shareholders. But CBC should be right down the middle on every issue. And man, if you've been watching CBC lately, they are not. And it's actually quite disgusting. But anyway.
Well, it is. And that's the problem. I think there's a certain age demographic that's still watching cable TV, and that's where they get their news from, and it's reflective in the polling.
Yeah, so. And that's the demographic that's polling for Mark Carney and the Liberals. Yep. Isn't that interesting how that works? And yet that media outlet, almost all of its funding comes from Mark Carney and the Liberals. Yeah,
well, with the defund the CBC, part of the conservative policy, I think they are a little desperate to keep the Liberals in power. So
yeah, well, I don't want to keep hammering this drum, but I'll tell you, this is the reason that people have lost faith in institutions. This is the reason why people are furiously angry, because they're having money extracted from them, and that money is being used to rig stuff. So, it's funny because, CSIS is like, oh, we have a new program where we have to protect people, politicians and political operatives, because, people are so angry. It's like, nobody ever stops to go like, well, why is everybody so mad? Are they doing something that's infuriating Canadians? Are they having their money taken and being used against them in elections? Like, what would make people so angry, right? So I think the most important part of solving our problems as a country is to figure out why people are angry and whether or not they have a legitimate complaint there. And if it's legitimate, stop doing those things.
Yeah.
Just for some reason, stopping doing bad things is never an option that's on the table.
Well, it's a struggle for them to do the right thing. We've seen a lot of that recently.
Yeah. Anyway.
If you're not subscribed, please do that. The notification bell is great. Yeah, if you want to be notified when we do a new video, great. If you don't, that's okay too. But if you can subscribe, that would be awesome. I'd really like to see us get to 100,000 subscribers, which would be good. Okay, that's it. Thanks everyone. Take care, and we will see you soon.